Hi everyone, welcome back to the Salt and Sauce podcast. Another week in Scottish football to look at the fortunes of the two Edinburgh clubs. Myself as a Hearts fan, and my best friend Robert, who's still a Hibs fan this week,
I'm still a Hibs fan.
even through difficult times.
Yep.
We'll come on to that in a little bit. Obviously, difficult times is a bit extreme. It was a hell of a game at Easter Road, but we'll talk about that later because it's probably the only type of game that could have not necessarily outshone, but only bigger is a victory at Ibrox for Hearts. We went there and won 2-0, which is amazing. Obviously delighted with that. There's obviously a lot of factors. I spoke last week about how often even Hearts, when they've been really good, go along the M8 to Celtic Park to Ibrox and just absolutely drop trousers and whatever, and they're just hopeless. Um, But I think even as a Hibs fan, Robert, you were impressed with Hearts at the weekend there, but probably equally disappointed with Rangers as well.
Yeah. Although, to be fair to myself, in our last pod, I said it was about what Hearts would do because we knew what Rangers' weaknesses were.
Yeah.
And it was just a case of, were Hearts going to go there and park the bus as they have done in recent times, or were they going to go back themselves and have a go? And I thought that if they did that, they could get a result there. I said 2-2, but as it turned out, Hearts were better than what I thought, and Rangers were worse than what I thought. So
I think that's
that
fair.
was the outcome.
And you're bang on, is we did the right thing. We were never going to go there and dominate the ball. We were never going to, look like the home team or anything like that. So whilst we didn't park the bus, but we did sit in and let them come to us. But I was so impressed with how quickly we got up the pitch. It was a two, maybe three passes, and we were up the other end. Now the fact you can do that to a Rangers team is quite embarrassing for them, but you can only beat what you're up against. And
Absolutely.
as you and I have said, a bad Rangers team is still probably the second best team in the league,
Mm,
99% of the time.
yeah.
Um, So yeah, I just thought we got it right, and I spoke about I wanted energy up at the pitch, up at the top end of the pitch to press them, especially when you've got someone like Devlin in behind, and Shankland's never going. Shankland did a lot of running, but he's never going to really close people down that much. But between Braga and Kizaridis, Milne was playing higher up the pitch. You said you were impressed with Harry Milne,
Was, yeah.
and we just harried them and didn't give them a minute on the ball.
The
Uh,
high press was very, very impressive
who
as
was that?
well. The high press.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
that's where Rangers are trying to play through that right now. And the problem
Mm,
is that they can sometimes do it because they've got players
mm.
good enough to do it, but then they get to the middle of the pitch or even into the other half and they just come back the way and then
Yeah.
everyone just gets back in shape. It was awful from them, really.
Mm,
Um, I suppose looking at it though from a Hearts point of view, I think the first goal's really good. Obviously, I get that I'm biased. I don't think it's a handball. I certainly don't think it's clear and obvious. I think it hits his sleeve, which is not a handball according to the rules. Um,
it's a type of decision though that, say the ref blows for a handball there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's no VAR check because it
Well, they
do
don't
it
check
go.
for free kicks anyway. But and you're right.
Yeah,
It's also the sort of thing that I would say genuinely, and this is going to be a recurring theme for the review of the game. Away at
yeah,
Ibrox rather. I don't think you usually get those decisions.
no.
So. I spoke a lot on the podcast last year about little bits of luck here and there for
Mm,
Hearts that as bad as we were, I also felt we just weren't getting any rub of the green at all
mm,
whatsoever. And and I felt like that changing is obviously going to change the fortunes of any team. And it sounds like well, it feels like we're definitely getting things like that now. So yeah, Shankland, I don't think it's a handball, so I do think it's the right decision ultimately. Um it's then it's a nice ball over the top. Okay, the defender gets a wee nick on it, but it's good enough to get to him. Braga, for me, Shooter could do better, but Braga does well to make the space, waits for Shankland to make the run, and what a finish. Someone criticised Butland. I don't know. It's a bit of a snapshot. Shankland does that thing where they kick it into the ground to create a bit of a bounce with
mm.
his hand, and I mean it's right in the corner as well.
I thought it was a fantastic finish
I just thought it was a great finish.
on
Yeah,
the weaker foot.
exactly, and that's where if you've got that Shankland. you're in with a real chance
Mhm.
of doing well in the league. So yeah, buzzing with that. They did have a few chances, things like that Asgard with the worst haircut in Scottish football. He missed it across that Schwolow did well to tip onto the bar. Again, okay, they've hit the bar, but it's a mishit cross rather than them tearing us apart or anything like that. They've had a couple of shots as well that, okay, they've made room for the shot, but we've either got the block in or the keeper's made a fairly comfortable save. I don't think there was anything where I thought that's an absolute sitter and we're clinging on by the skin of our teeth here. So 1-0 going into half time. The thing I was mainly picking up with the first half, there was a couple of moments I thought could have made the highlights package for Hearts, but actually what I was getting was more every time we got the ball and went forward, I felt like we could score. Even if it didn't lead to a direct chance, it was maybe a cross that they were just getting ahead to for a corner, and we were getting a few corners and things like that. It just felt really positive and really possible that we were actually going to do it. Second half change, they brought Rothwell on for Connor Barron. Um, and he was doing well, Rothwell. I don't think he's pulled up any trees really since he got there, but he was playing well. He was getting on the ball and he was playing some nice passes. And they started creating a few more chances. It was a boost when he got injured and went off. Um, they had a goal disallowed. Now, I would say if that was disallowed from me, I'd probably be a wee bit annoyed. There is definitely motion. I can't tell if it's Asgard or Suter's hand that goes into Schwolow's way. So I suppose by the book, there is a foul there. Could the keeper do better? Yeah, probably. Is it like a stonewall foul? No. And certainly is it the sort of thing you normally get at Ibrox? Definitely not. I was
Mhm.
very surprised at getting that decision. I,
The first time I saw it, Stuart, I thought, "Oh, Hearts have got away with one there."
yeah,
But I
yeah,
saw the replay, and obviously the angle that the ref would have, and it's Asgard has got like it's not even like an elbow up in his face. He actually like connects with his face, and like
yeah.
you can't do it. So okay, soft, but it's a foul.
Well, that's it. And I would say it's the same with Shankland's handball. You could totally see how that could go against you, and,
Mm.
and you're going, oh, God's sake, the ref. But ultimately, is it the right decision? I would say it probably is. That one for me was the most on the fence.
I think Shankland's one
The handball.
that rather than me not being sure whether it was a handball or not, because I've just there's no definitive angle that you can see.
No.
There's not enough in it to say that that's definitely a handball.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
exactly. And I realize, if it was a handball, it would get cancelled, but it's also on the halfway line, and
mm,
they've got plenty of chances to
mm,
stop it from there. I also think I agree it's not definitive. My opinion, though, is it hits the sleeve anyway. So two
mm,
decisions there that in other games go against you, but
yeah.
we've got them both, and
Hmm.
I would say they're probably correct.
Hmm.
So they were definitely putting pressure on. I'll give them that, and they hit the post with a decent shot from distance. I think Schwolow had it covered though, in fairness. Um, and then they had another one, Rothwell putting a really, so obviously prior to him going off injured, putting a really good ball into the box, and two of them missed it. That actually they should do better. So that was their spell in the game. But again, every team has that spell. We played Aberdeen and beat them 2-0. They had a spell after half time where they were on top. And so when you're playing Rangers at Ibrox, they're definitely going to have that moment. And as we've said a few times, Robert, if you want to be either member of the old firm, you need a bit of luck at some point. Um, and we did get that on top of a really good performance. We then go up. This was another one that I know Rangers fans will not be happy about. I think this is the penalty. Milne, who was brilliant all game, I thought he's been really good this season. This was his best game, though. It was just excellent. He drives into the box, really positive play. He's going at some speed. I don't think it takes much to knock you down when you're going at that speed. Um, he is really going full pelt. The other two things that make me think it's definitely a penalty is I don't see why he goes down if he's in the box, and I still think he's going to get to the ball. And the second thing or the third thing, I guess, in some ways, is Suter's reaction to it. I watched it specifically one time on one of the replays, and Suter just goes as if he's annoyed with his player putting in the challenge because he's nowhere near getting the ball. um, it made me think penalty. So
Yeah.
I do think it's there's not a huge touch on him, but I don't think it takes much to put you down at that pace.
Yeah, it's a penalty for me as well.
I forgot to say this is great. Having a Hibs fan agree with all these decisions. This is making me even more certain that. But no, that's good, and I appreciate the honesty on that. And then Shankland, I had a funny feeling. I watched the game with my dad, and I actually said to him, I don't, I think he misses this, and sure enough, Butler makes a good save. It's not like a
Mm,
terrible penalty. It's a good save, but again, Shankland, you want him alert in the box. Okay, it's
mm,
come from his own missed penalty, but he's in there and he puts it away, and it's two.
yeah.
And then after that, it was game over. They didn't really do anything. In fact, we hit the post in the last minute with Magnuson. I thought we shout out as well for Kabangu, who I thought was amazing when he came on. He was so dangerous. He was running them
Mm,
ragged, set up a couple of chances. I know it's the sort of performance you could say everyone gets pass marks.
mm.
My particular shouts out were for Shanklin and Braga, and to an extent Kazarides, their link up. Uh,
Milne.
Milne, phenomenal. Halkett won everything, and and Kabangu when he came on, I thought he did the perfect job for seeing out a victory in the latter stages of the game. So just a brilliant result. It put us top of the league, albeit no longer anymore. Celtic got I would say a very controversial penalty away to Kilmarnock, but there you go. We're at the top of the league now where we can moan about things like that. Um, so I just a hugely positive afternoon performance and result.
Yeah, and look, as much as it to pains me as a Hibs fan to say it, but it was an impressive result. It was a professional performance. You made Rangers look poor. Hearts looked like, the better team.
Yeah.
They were organized, they were more up for it, they had more energy, they had more quality as well.
Mm.
And just Shanklin and Braga just ran them absolute ragged. You won the midfield battle, you were solid in defense. Your keeper looked good. So all in all, from a Hearts perspective, me included, have said, well, not really been tested yet. Let's see how they get on. Blah blah blah. Hearts keep coming through these games with
Yeah.
obviously apart from the St Mirren game, with flying colours. So it's hard to argue against that, really, that Hearts deserve the win, and it's the biggest test that you've had of the season to date. I'd say it's your hardest game,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and you made Rangers look very poor.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I've been looking forward to well, sort of looking forward to it and also dreading it. But yeah, looking forward to that test to just say because I kept on arguing like, look, Dundee United away, um, Motherwell have ended up being phenomenal. I know they keep drawing their games, but they have been phenomenal, and they were again on Saturday. Aberdeen have ended up being poor, but games that on paper would be tough, and we've come through them all. But that's there's no doubt that's the biggest one, as you say. And if you include the St Mirren one as a draw in 90 minutes, it just continues this belief
Yeah.
of an unbeaten run, and it's not since Critchley's last game, the 1-0 defeat to Dundee, that we've lost a game in 90 minutes. Um,
And what I guess that proves is against Rangers, against Celtic, have a go. Don't sit in, get after them. Especially this season, Rangers, Celtic, they're not the formidable teams of old. Yeah, they've got some quality players, but Killy pushed them all the way at the weekend. They've looked very shaky, Celtic and Rangers. Have a go. Like, go two up front, high press them. What have
yeah.
you got to lose? Okay, you might lose 3 or 4-0, but is it not better just having a go and maybe taking the chance to win rather than just contain?
It's the most positive performance I've seen at Ibrox for a while, and there's different ways that you can sit in. There's the park the bus way, and then there's what's actually just counter-attacking
Yeah.
football, and that's all about getting the ball up and getting bodies up quickly, and we did that really really well at the weekend. I'd love to do it against Celtic. Um, and actually, I mean, you're right though. Obviously, I know we don't want to turn this into an old firm podcast, but I mean, Celtic were very lucky to beat Kilmarnock. I don't think that's a penalty for them in the last minute. It hits his hand, but it comes off the other player first, which my understanding is that shouldn't be a penalty. But um, well, these things even themselves out apparently over the season.
Mm, still waiting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um,
So anyway,
but
listen. To summarise, and I appreciate obviously it's never nice being overly complimentary about your rivals, but Hearts have earned it this weekend and this season in general. But that was the biggest test, and we've come through it really well. And we'll come on to later. Obviously, Hibs have got a similar test this weekend in the cup against a Rangers team who will be wanting to prove a point. But
we'd like that Rangers team to turn up on Saturday.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm just worried that we've angered them or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know
Mhm.
how angry this team gets. So anyway, brilliant, like great stuff for Hearts at the minute, and the only downside, of course, is that elimination from the cup, which means we're out of action next weekend. So that was a great game at Ibrox. I thought, in terms of just out and out as a game of football, rather than the, if you like, the whole narrative at Ibrox, out and out game of football as a neutral-ish. What a game at Easter Road, the 3-all. You were there,
I
Robert,
was there. I was there for my sins. I was there.
and
Where to even start with this?
can I ask very, very quickly as an overall summary? I mentioned about the Motherwell game the other week, how I was gutted with the draw, delighted with the draw, gutted we didn't win, gutted with the perform. Had all these different emotions for the same result. Is it similar? Because you were 3-1 down, you got a point.
No,
No?
I was raging
Okay, why?
because we should be beating Dundee United at home. Simple
Right.
as that. And the goals we gifted away were terrible. They were poor defensive mistakes, poor goalkeeping errors. We looked shaky all game in defence, and it just reminded me of the start of last season. The goals were given away,
Hmm.
and you can't be giving teams gifting decent teams. So Dundee United are a decent team, but
Hmm.
we just gifted them goals, which was very disappointing. Now, their first goal, it comes in, Rocky clears it, but he like clears it to it's a terrible clearance. It goes right to their boy, who's then got time to just whip it in. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic cross. And it's an even better header, I think, because
Yeah, yeah,
he's
great.
like going away and he like arches his neck.
Yeah.
Keeper could probably do better, defenders could do better, but sometimes a cross is just that good that it's hard to defend. So
That
that, that
that Stevenson's a good player. Look
that's
up.
the guy I was that's the guy I was saying.
Yeah, yeah,
He had a good game as
he looks
well.
handy.
Yeah, and the number 8 for them. And what's the boy's name up front?
Is it not Stevenson? Is he not the
No, no, no,
Dolchek?
no.
Sapsford?
Yes,
So he got the second goal.
they they never gave our defenders a minute. I think they just kind of run them ragged. They could sense that we were nervous for some reason. We actually started the game on the front foot really well. I was thinking, all right, we're right up for this,
Yeah.
uh, creating loads of chances, uh, right up and at them. And I was like, okay, hopefully this will be, the start of something good here.
Yeah.
Because as we said, we need to get back to winning ways at home. If you're going to do anything in the league, you have to win your home games. And then that sucker punch comes along, and then you're thinking, okay, still a bit to go in the match, and obviously then
What I was going to say, you mentioned goalkeeping errors from Hibs, and you're right. Smith, at the very least, could do better with the first goal, I think. But rather than it being an error. But that saying it, they gifted you the equaliser. I
he
know
did.
it's a good cross, and Bashiri attacks it well. And I thought Bashiri had got another goal.
I know in the stadium they announced Bashiri, and I was like, oh yes, can't wait to do the pod. But it turns out it was an own goal. That was an error. But to be fair, it was the one error that keeper made because he was outstanding for them for the rest of the game.
He made some really good saves, but actually he was quite flappy at crosses. I wasn't. I mean, he could have got a 10 for the amount of saves he made, but he could have got a 1 for a couple other things as well. Um, it was quite a funny performance from that keeper, but he definitely made some brilliant saves and kept them in it.
So we get back to 1-1. I think it was 27th minute, yeah, and then
He scored just before half time.
there's kind of a few half chances here and there for both teams, really. And then they play a ball over, and Smith decides to just empty the goal.
That flying header went to his head, I think. He
It's
was
just
more excited.
crazy. Just like, what are you doing?
I know.
And okay, defensively, we could do better. You can always do better. It's a sequence of errors, really. But your keeper just stays on the line there. I
Well,
don't know what he was thinking.
you're right. There's other things that could have gone better, but that all comes from Jordan Smith doing what he
Yeah.
did.
And he's come out, rushed out, emptied the goal, and to be fair to them, they've kept their composure and just tucked it away. And that's right before half time. So that was a real sucker punch because
Yeah.
at 1-1, you're thinking, right, we're the team now that's going to go and push on and win and get our attacking players on the ball. It's never quite happened in that first half. We never just quite got it together, and we always looked shaky at the back. And Dundee United were posing just a constant threat, and I think it just unsettled our players for some reason. It just, I don't know, it kind of spooked them.
They were actually they were unsettling you, but they actually moved the ball quite well. I mean, that second goal was the best example of it. As much as Smith is at fault, they moved the ball well there. There was it
Hmm.
was quick passing and everything like that. And as you say, I mean, they're a decent team, but they actually also I thought played particularly well on
Oh no,
Saturday.
they played well. They did. They did play well. I can't take that away from them. I think that had something to do with us not passing it the way we usually do. We didn't, apart from the first 20 minutes, just didn't show the urgency, the energy that we usually put into games either. And then halftime comes, and obviously everyone's a bit peed off because we're 2-1 down.
Yeah.
And then right after the restart, we're 3-1 down. Ball comes in, I think from the left, and again a fantastic cross,
Mm.
and it takes Smith, it takes Cadden out of it. Um, Nicky Cadden, who kind of just got behind his man, and he's just got a kind of it's a good finish again from the boy. To be fair, first time finish, and you're thinking, what on earth is going on here?
Cadden gets a lot of plaudits for his work going forward. Is he a great defender?
I wouldn't say he's a great defender, but he's a guy that will always kind of harry back. He'll never usually lose his man, to be fair to him. He's
That was
obviously
a poor
much
example.
better attacking. And what I would say for Nicky Cadden, I know he's come under criticism for some of the goals, but what I would say about him is he's one of the only players that was looking to make something happen. Every time it came to his left foot, he was whipping in a dangerous cross.
No, I would agree with that. I certainly don't think he had a bad game. Far from it. He was, as you say, his left foot is always going to be dangerous. But he does. He sort of he's got the wrong body shape, and he switches off a little
Yeah,
bit back post there,
yeah,
and that's just a fact rather than
yeah.
a
But
slight.
we don't stop the cross, and I think it just caught everyone by surprise that ball coming in. So
So this is you're 3-1 down at this point, and okay, it's not as bad as 3-0, but it's similar to the Motherwell game in terms of presumably at this point you would have taken a point at 3-1 down.
yes, I would have, but obviously, like I'm sitting there, like, and everyone around me just shaking their heads at what's going on at the defense,
Yeah.
how we found ourselves in this position again against weaker opposition, chasing the game, making the wrong decisions, poor passing. I think we really missed Chiwa. We really, really missed him getting up and down because they're number 8. He just bossed our midfield. He
Yeah.
absolutely dominated us.
I think it was like Kamara, maybe.
Yes, yeah, that's his name.
Big boy, he looks handy.
He was handy. He just bossed us in the midfield, and I didn't know whether it was a formation thing because we were trying to get McGrath in the team. We just the balance just looked wrong. It looked like they had an extra man in the midfield. But anyway, look, to be fair to the players, we're 3-1 down. They could have thrown in the chips there, but they no one can question the effort they put in. I just have an issue with the quality we showed, and we just switched off at key moments. But they then gifted us another goal, Dundee United.
That was poor from them, yeah.
That was awful from them. And
Yeah.
again, just Bowie harassing the defender, not giving him a minute, and takes the ball off him and just keeps his composure. Keeper gets his hands to it, but it ends up going in.
Well, I think it's someone else. It's not Mulligan because it breaks to Bowie and it looks like he's offside, and that's when they had to check.
They
Uh,
thought they
because
thought
he is
that his
offside,
player had played it.
the Dundee United player rather than Mulligan or
Yeah.
who it is that's closing. I know what you mean. Bowie is obviously good at closing down, but the reason I bring that up is I think that's a positive from Hibs that other players are doing it as well.
Yeah,
And
it was it Mulligan that closed down it, and
I
then
think
that.
I think it was Mulligan, and it
Anyway,
comes off there, man. But you're right. It breaks to Bowie and he finishes it.
yeah, and the keeper probably would be disappointed with that. Actually, I'm saying he had a good game, but he did get his hands to it. But I think just
Yeah.
the power kind of takes in. So once
It's
that
also
VAR decision's given, you're looking up and you're going, right, well, I think we scored on the 50th minute and it's 3-2, and you're thinking, right, we play our cards right here. We can
mm,
get ourselves back in the game. And at that point, I'm thinking, never mind the draw. We need to try and go for the win. You know,
mm,
you've 40 minutes essentially, plus added time to try and get 2 goals. And it was just like a basketball game after that. It was just like backwards, forwards. It was just like one team attacking looking like they could score. Dundee United looked like they could score every time they came forward. Smith made some really, really good saves, to be fair to him. Really important. Two one-on-ones in particular.
yeah.
One that hit his leg, I think, and the other,
Yeah.
I think, up here. He just
The
stayed big
one
and kind of an old Craig Gordon save.
the
And
leg one in particular was important because that was I mean that was I think that was Stevenson who was on a hat trick. So
yeah,
he obviously knows how to score a goal, and he's tried to wrong foot Smith a little bit by putting
yeah.
it near post, and Smith does well though.
And Smith's a very good shot stopper. That's where he is. He's just
Yeah.
his decision making and like coming for crosses and things like that. That's where he kind of lets himself down a bit.
A little bit, and I agree he's a good shot stopper. But actually, if I look at some of like was it the Warsaw or one of your European
Yeah,
games, do you know what I mean? That's shot stopping, and he was
yeah,
bad at it.
yeah,
I would say he's a good shot stopper, but he's just got an error in him, and
yeah.
I don't think that some keepers just have that. No matter how much they improve, they've just got that error
Yeah,
in them, and I just think Smith is one of these keepers.
yeah, yeah. So we were
It's the
throwing everything at it, as I said, and it looked like either team could score next. To be fair, it was very much in the balance, and it got to 86th minute, and we then get a pen for a. It was a handball. Like he stopped it going in the goal.
yeah.
It looks like it's going in the goal.
I think it's a handball, and I think it's a penalty. I cannot believe he's given a red card for it.
Well, the thing is, he brought his hand up to the ball to stop it, and it's a deliberate handball that's stopping a goal scoring opportunity. So that by the book is a red card.
I don't know. I get he moves his hand to the ball. I don't think it's a red card in terms of he's not like it's not like Suarez like saving it on the line. He puts his arm up a bit and it hits his arm. It's definitely a penalty. No arguments about that. I just can't believe he's given a red card. I think that's absolutely crazy.
But anyway, so
It's 4 minutes to go though. It doesn't really impact the game.
McGrath steps up, who somehow got man of the match. I have no idea how, because he had an absolute stinker, but it was a real pressured penalty. Like that, you could just feel it in the stands.
Mm.
Everyone went like dead quiet, and it was just like you just felt to yourself, if we miss this, the game's essentially over. You just had that feeling, even though we were down to 10 men, and
Yeah.
it's a really good pen. He just keeps his nerve,
Yeah.
and
Not recently, but historically, it would be so Hibs to miss that penalty.
oh, it
It
would be.
would be.
And that's what I said to one of the Hibs lads. I said, even if we got that penalty against St Mirren to win the game, I said, we would have missed it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
anyway, fair play to McGrath, big cojones stepping up there and
Against his old team as well.
against his old team. He hadn't had a good game, I don't think. But anyway, got man of the match. And, he tucks it away. And then they were just kind of, we were against 10 men. I actually missed the red card and all that was going on. It wasn't until I looked up at the screen that I
Yeah,
saw that they'd had a man sent off. Like loads of people missed that.
yeah.
And at that point, Dundee United are taking the point, so they're kind of wasting time. I think actually they had another chance even with 10 men. If
Yeah. It was still quite even.
it was still quite even, we didn't again, we put Campbell on when we're looking for a goal. Like
I knew that was going to get brought up.
why do that? Why do that? But anyway, we tried for a winner, and to get yourself back in the game at 3-1 down in the second half, get it back to 3-all, and be pushing for a winner. I probably would have taken that, but I just thought there were, I think, 7 minutes added on They were down to 10 men. We got it back to 3-3. So we essentially had 12, 13 minutes against 10 men at that stage of the match. And I just thought we didn't do enough in those 12, 13 minutes
Mm.
to try and really push home that advantage.
A couple of chances, but you're right. I would want to be like peppering the goal,
Yeah.
really going for it. What did you think of? I'm curious about this because I saw it from obviously a Hearts point of view. Bowie's penalty claim in like the last minute or whatever.
It would be very, very soft,
I thought
honest.
there's a little touch on his wrist, but I just feel like he chucks himself down really more than anything because it
Yeah, I think it
really.
was more in just in hope. I mean, the defender's taking a risk, all right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe this,
but
but look, it'd be soft. I'm a big believer in you have to allow some contact,
yeah,
but I think that would be very harsh.
yeah, no, absolutely. And the reason I asked is just I wondered how many. I remember at the time Hibs fans going crazy, and I know the officials got booed off the pitch and things like that. And it's hard to tell when you're watching on TV. I'm like,
Mm.
are they booing? Is it because of that or what? And I just thought if they're booing because of that, then I mean,
No, they weren't. I think they were just booing because the refs were terrible. Like for both teams, it was such a great game. It was two teams going for the win, all out attack. As I said, it was like a basketball match. The ref was just making really, really strange decisions.
hmm,
Like he let the Dundee United boy have 4 or 5 fouls before booking him for a yellow, for example.
hmm,
And there were just some strange decisions going on. He wasn't getting on top of the time wasting at all.
yeah.
Um, I think it was more that rather than that we didn't. And obviously, you don't have the benefit of hindsight, so you think you've been robbed at the end again. So, and the fans are already frustrated because
Yeah.
we're not winning again at home. So I think it was all just that, to be
Fair
honest.
enough. It's hard to tell, obviously, from the TV. And actually, some ways, I sometimes find that more annoying. I can't remember what game it was recently where I felt like this. Maybe in the Livingston game. But it's see when the refs making lots of little things like that, but it
Mm,
ends up having a bigger impact on the game. It doesn't get any coverage, whereas the Hibs St Mirren non-penalty incident, um, that's a one-off incident that the ref and VAR have gotten wrong, admittedly,
yeah.
but obviously it makes headlines versus 20 smaller decisions,
Mm,
i.e., not booking somebody that
mm,
should have got booked 2 fouls ago,
mm.
things like that. In some ways, that annoys me more because
Yeah,
that's impacting the whole game
yeah.
versus one incident at the end.
So
Obviously, a big incident.
I guess to summarize, not good enough. I wasn't happy at all leaving with 3-3. I just wasn't. I don't care. We were 3-1 down. We shouldn't have been 3-1 down.
Mm.
I was very disappointed. We need to sort out our defense. We need to sort out what is our best starting 11 and stick with that for a bit.
Yeah.
And Gray needs to not be so loyal to players that just have not performed. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see the team that he goes with away to Rangers.
Just before we jump into that Rangers game, I just wanted to ask one question. You mentioned we shouldn't have been 3-1 down. Do you mean on the balance of play, or do you mean
No,
because you're at home to Dundee United?
we're at home to Dundee United,
Okay.
and it's more points dropped. That's Killy, that's St Mirren. Whatever you say about the VAR decision, as I said, I'm a big believer you just take it out the ref's hands and win the game. It's more goals conceded. So if you score 3 goals at home, you should be winning the match.
I think that's fair.
We were poor. We gifted goals. They gifted us goals as well. But I just thought it was a poor result. It's not good enough. So
Do you think, based on the way the game went, though, a fair result in the end?
yeah,
I think so. I think
yeah,
a point
yeah.
apiece would
Yeah,
probably.
no, it was fair. I don't mean it in the balance of play, but I just mean it
Yeah.
from a Hibs fan's perspective that
You look at
I'm
the fixture list and you're thinking,
exactly
I want 3 points.
not happy. You have to win your home games. So it was disappointing.
Well, away to Rangers in the Cup next. Um, I was going to make a joke about a big 3 points there, but do you think, how are you feeling for it?
Again, similar to what I said about Hearts, I think it's about what Hibs do. Now, Gray isn't typically a gung-ho manager. Now, he will go for it if we're kind of behind with 20, 25 to go. Like he'll throw all our forwards on. but typically to start a game, he can be a little bit cautious, I think. So I don't know if he is going to go for it. I
Okay.
hope he does. I hope we play Chiba. I hope that we play two up front. I hope Bowie starts. I hope Boyle starts. Boyle was shocking on Saturday, by the way, but he's a big game player, and his record against Rangers has to be one of the best in the league, if not the best. Because he's scored so many goals against him. He's terrorized in most games he plays against him. So Boyle has to start for me. Bowie has to start. Chiwa. The big decision he's got to make is Obita or Nicky Cadden.
What would you
Who
go
goes
for?
with there? It's a tough one. It's a tough one because arguably we're going to be asked to defend more, and Obita's better defensively, but then you miss
Yeah.
that the deliveries of Nicky Cadden, and everyone's saying, "Oh, we've got McGrath." I've not seen, I don't think, one good delivery from McGrath yet. I've actually not,
Hmm.
and I know that's meant to be one of his strengths, but when we take Nicky Cadden out of our team, I
But
think we take out a big, big supply chain to our forward line.
and even then, the thing with McGrath that you're talking about is like that's from set pieces, whereas what Cadden often does is get the ball in open play,
Exactly.
toss it from deep because he's got that Beckham was obviously great from it, getting that
Yeah.
long arc on the ball, and Cadden's really good at it. McGrath's not going to be picking it up in the left back position.
No, no. So I just think we go for it. I want to see an attacking formation. I don't want him to muck about with Campbell, anything like that. We play our best team. We bring Chiwa back in and we just go for it. I think there's an argument that you drop Smith. I think he's made enough mistakes now that we bring in Salinger
Well,
and we give
well,
him a go.
our goalie got his debut away to Ibrox, and
Yeah,
it worked out pretty well, obviously.
yeah.
Would you play Klidja? I've always thought he looks dangerous when he comes on.
I wouldn't start him.
So you've got enough
Not.
attacking options between Bowie and Boyle and
Yeah.
okay.
You start with Bowie and Boyle. Boyle's a big game player, and Bowie obviously he's not going to be dropped. So I just think that we'll need to defend better than what we have done, and when the chances come, we need to take them. So anything can happen, Stuart. I'm not saying I'm confident going to Ibrox because of the goals we've leaked against poor opposition. But I've also nothing to fear either because I just think that if Hibs go for it, I think we'll win because I think they've got a soft centre. I don't think those players are up for the fight. I don't think they have. I think the manager's lost the dressing room, and I just think we can get an early goal there. The place is going to turn so toxic that we could take advantage of that. But don't be surprised if this is a 3-2, a 4-3, because both defenses are leaking goals.
I was even going to say like there is a version of if Rangers, because bear in mind they've got multi-million-pound players in
Yeah,
there, they could still beat Hibs or Hearts 3-0 at
yeah,
Ibrox, and you don't really bat an eyelid just
yeah.
because that's the difference in budgets. I'm not saying that I think that will happen, but in the way that you wouldn't expect Hibs to go to Dens Park and lose 3-0,
Yeah,
you need to remember this is still Rangers as bad
of
as.
course.
Are you worried at all? Russell Martin apparently took the squad wild swimming today. I was reading in the papers. Is that are you worried?
No, I'm not worried, but I was also saying to my dad, I said it'd be typical Hibs that all these players that have been terrible for Rangers, I'm talking about, it all just
Of a
clicks into
worldie.
place on Saturday and they just hammer us.
Well, to be honest, I was worried the exact same thing. I thought, Majovsky, he's had a couple of weeks training with him, and he is a good player.
Mm.
I thought Raskin was going to come back in, and I don't really like the guy, but he's clearly a good
He's a good
player.
player.
Um, and he's still he likes a Suter, still a good defender, and all these people. Butland's still a
Even that
decent.
Asgard, like he scored three for Norway midweek.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
These are still good players.
Exactly. And so I thought that's going to click against Hearts, isn't it? And we're going to lose two or three.
Mm. Mm.
Um, so it's such a tough one to call, Hibs Rangers. It really is. And I know you've got it from the sort of like the bias point of view of being a Hibs fan going into it.
Mm.
I've got it from, this is like Gary Neville watching Man City v Liverpool, where I'm, not exactly a fan of either team.
You
But
want to draw, but can't be.
it's yeah. I I just don't know how to even begin
Oh,
predicting it.
I'm the same. If you were to hold a gun to my head,
Give me a head and a heart decision. They might be the same, but give me a head and heart prediction.
I think we'll go through.
Okay. In 90 minutes.
It might go. It might go to extra time
Mhm.
or pens, but I've just a feeling that we're going to go through.
Is that, and again, it's going to turn into the old firm podcast here, but is that the final nail from Martin if you knock him out?
I'd say so.
You think
He's not going to survive that because the league's gone already,
so?
and then if they're out the League Cup, that means they've just got to play for the Scottish Cup and before Christmas,
Yeah,
and they've
and
spent 20 million.
I know that is absolutely mad. That was the other thing I meant to say this earlier. To think, you look at Shanklin banging in a couple of goals there, and they probably could have. I don't know what happened between him and Rangers. He's obviously a Rangers fan and would have gone.
Crazy.
The fact they could have got him on a free transfer.
It's just beyond. I think Chris Boyd was saying that on the telly. Could have got him, and they could have got McInnes. All deemed all deemed not good enough for Rangers. It's like this is what I'm saying. There's good quality players in the league, and there's good managers as well. But for some reason, Rangers want to go abroad. They want to go abroad for players, and they want to go abroad for managers, and it just doesn't work out for some reason. They don't know the league. They underestimate it, and they're getting found out.
There's a lot to be said for like the likes of that Finlay Curtis. I think that's his name that came in for them, and actually giving these guys a chance rather than a Raskin that doesn't want to be there or
Mm.
um, Mikey Moore coming up from Spurs who probably thinks this is a farmers league. All those
Mm.
sorts of things. But again, yeah, this is we're turning into the salt and vinegar podcast. I think.
No, but like we both our one of our sides
Yeah,
has played Rangers and
yeah,
Hibs have
yeah.
obviously got Rangers, so it's topical.
Of
But
course.
I think we'll go through. Gun to your head, Stuart. What's happening?
Um, it's so I'm struggling a lot with it. I'm going to say though, and I've been proven wrong pretty much every single week with this. Rangers eventually have to come sort of good, and I think they'll go through. And
Okay.
the reason I think that is it will paper over the cracks. Like getting to the semi-final or the final of the League Cup, it will just paper over the cracks. It's such a cliche. It was
Well,
like,
let's hope you're wrong because I'm flying over on Saturday
yeah,
and we need a pick me up. So let's hope you're wrong.
yeah. Well, listen, well, I hope you have a good day anyway and enjoy it. I know you're going with a mutual friend of ours, so enjoy the game. Maybe
Um,
pay up you so you get your money's worth out of it.
Well, I won't be getting a pint off that friend anyway.
We'll send them the link to this.
Uh,
Brilliant, mate. Well, listen, I enjoy. I don't know if I want to say good luck or not, but enjoy the quarter final. We're obviously just a bit jealous on this side of the city when it comes to
enjoy your weekend off, Stuart.
that's it. But we can be jealous of you in the cup. You can be jealous of us in the league. That'll do. Right, Robert. I'll catch you next week.
Okay, see you later.